Hey everybody, got another video here for you. So this video is going to be a quick and dirty how-to on doing fretwork. The very first thing you want to do is adjust your truss rod so it's flat, basically. And then when you do setup later on, you can induce some relief if necessary. I don't use a notch straight edge at all because you don't really care about the height of the wood in between the frets. You care about the height of the top of the frets. So I just use a plain straight edge in order to see where the tops of each fret are in relation to the fret plane, which would be the bottom edge of the straight edge. And in order to get it as straight as possible, when its bow has back bow, like this does now, it'll rock like a big giant fret rocker. When it has relief, it will wiggle in the middle. Like right now, this doesn't really wiggle at all in the middle. It wiggles at the ends because this is the high part. So you want to adjust your truss rod until it. Usually the easiest way is get it to just wiggle with just a smidge of relief and then back it off until the fretboard hits the bottom middle of the ruler and stops wiggling. And then you're pretty much as flat as you can get. You can use a backlight and a straight edge in order to better see if you've got like lower high frets. And you can even use feeler gauges and a straight edge if you want to actually put some numbers to the situation and get an even more accurate picture of just how messed up your frets are. But so that's the long and short of adjusting the truss rod and the tricks for seeing what your frets look like. So once you've got that adjusted, now, all these steps, you only do it if you have to. You're pretty much going to have to adjust the truss rod. But for example, I'm working with a new replacement neck here, so I don't have to level or crown frets. If you have a used neck you're dealing with and it needs a fret crown and level, then that would be the next step. So once you've got your frets crowned and level, and that's pretty much the state that these are in here now. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to use a bevel file, and you're going to run it along the sides here looking for fret sprout. And let me show you what you're dealing with here. Okay, so this is your fret looking at it from the end on, and this is your fret looking at it top down. So this is end on, and that's top down. And first you start with your fret beveling file, and you want to just kind of feel along the sides in order to see if there's anything sticking out. And this is going to take care of this part of the fret right here. Where the tang is. So first you do that. And you don't want to get way far over. In everything that I'm going to be showing you here, you're really never touching the tops of the frets. They've already been leveled and crowned, and that's it. They'll get polished, that's all they get. So first you start with this and take out that part. And then the next tool, is going to be a fret end dressing file. This is a StewMac. This is just a cheap diamond file that I ground a couple safe edges on to make one. Same idea with a wooden handle. And these are the files that I found like 2 for $4 online just recently. and I'm going to be giving them a tryout on this particular neck. So you get a fret end dressing file, and you want to mask it off, and then you want to round the bottom corners on both sides like that. And what that's going to get is that's going to get this part. It's going to get that corner, yeah. And that's going to give you, that right there will almost give you a hot dog end on a pre-fretted neck. So then once you've done that, you got to go all the way down on this side and all the way back on the other, or however you want to do it. Usually, since you have to mask it off, it's best if you, mask one off, file it, then usually when you're masking off for trussing fret ends, you can get 2 or 3 frets out of one piece of tape. You just take this one off, put it down at the next fret, and then move the second piece of tape. And you move it over a little bit to a fresh portion of the tape. And that'll save a little tape in the process. So after you've used your fret dressing files, let me see, what's the next step? So that'll take care of all the bottoms of the frets should now be smooth. All the bottoms of the frets should now be smooth after those operations. And then the next step is going to be the very top of the fret right here. And it's quite possible that you won't need to do this step. I actually seldom have to do it. But sometimes on especially rough frets that have been poorly ground down, even after doing all the bottoms, this part here might have some burrs or something. So what you do is use your half-round crown file, and you just kind of, let me grab my file here. And once again, it's best to have it masked off. These have safe edges on them, but they can still leave marks, especially if you press too hard. But yeah, you get your half-round crown file and just go like this. And you want to tilt it down until it's not cutting. Tilt it up until it's just cutting, and then go ahead and file until you don't want to go over more than maybe 30 degrees of the plane. Basically file it down until you just round over this corner here. And that's going to get this part of the fret. And once again, this is only if needed. And usually it doesn't need that. But yeah, if there's burrs like here, then you use the half-round crown file in order to knock that down. So then once you've done that, then you use sandpaper and you roll it by putting the sandpaper and just back and forth like this. And you can also take the sandpaper and wrap it around something small like a file and do that. And what that does is that gets all of this. It gets all of this and all of this. Yeah, so that's going to basically, this entire hump in both drawings, that's going to hit all of that and smooth everything around and get it looking all nice and pretty. And then once you've done that, then it's time to polish. And nothing beats the rotary tool with a flexi extension and a buffer wheel and metal polish. And the one real cool trick is you mask off the sides first, and then you go and then when you're polishing, you mask them off one at a time. And because it's masked off on the sides, you won't have any polish residue on the side of the guitar like you get with just a fret guard. Because the fret guard, the slot is always a little wider than the fret is, and so polish goes down in the gap between the end of the slot and the end of the fret, and then you got gunk all down here that you got to clean off. But what you do is you mask off a whole bunch first, and then go down and do some, and you peel it all off from the side, and you've got zero cleanup practically. You've just got a little residue right around the bottom of each fret. And that's it. You're done after you polish them. Then you clean it up with Windex or naphtha. Yeah, if you have a finished fretboard like this one, Windex. If you have a unfinished fretboard like a rosewood, I'd use naphtha. And that's all there is to it, but that is a very time-consuming process. I'll tell you right now. Without doing a level and a crown, most of it is in doing the fret ends, the bottom corners with the fret dressing file. I mean, that alone can take an hour easily, perhaps two. Take your time, do it right, let the file do the cutting, feel and listen for when it's cutting. Yeah, a lot of this, and when you're looking at the fretboard, you're looking at the fretboard with your fingers more than your eyes. And it's a lot like automotive body work. So, and take your time, be patient, do it right. When you're filing your fret ends, don't use a lot of force. It'll cause you to slip more easily. If you're not using a lot of force and you do slip, you have less chance of scratching up your frets. And let's see. After you roll it, before you polish them, you need to take out all the marks that you put in the sides. So start with maybe 320 and run through the grits up to 2000 or so, and then polish. Yeah, I forgot about that little sand the ends part of the frets. Yeah, after you've done all this, you need to sand the ends in order to get a good polish end on it. And there, if it's got a rough, like this one, if it's got a rough machine job of beveling the frets, you might need to do significant sanding or grinding on the ends to get those original marks out of the ends. There's really not much you can do about that. Me personally, I just give it the normal amount of sanding and polishing on the ends, and if it doesn't do it, it doesn't do it. I mean, when you're up there on stage, nobody's going to care if there's a little machining nick in the end of your fret. So, but anyway, that's it. Just take your time, be patient. You'll be happy. It's worth the time spent. This is one of the places where you can take it from zero to hero just through effort, not money. And this is one of the things that makes a difference between a $100 guitar and a $1,000 guitar. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. So, until the next one, everybody, have a good one.